What's up, everybody? It's your boy AT2. And let me be honest, I love watching Raccoon on Raccoon Crime because Candace Owens has not replied back yet to Officer Tatum, but Officer Tatum is still sneak dissing her. Now, what's so interesting is that he still won't say Candace's name. Now, the funny part is that they actually mentioned Candace in this whole video about, Charlie Kirk being paid $150 million from Israel. But instead of naming Candace, he just says in general, people who are against Israel. And Officer Tatum, yeah, he's bought and paid for. He even interviewed with Benjamin Netanyahu. So, it's only obvious why he'd be defending Israel. But let's go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into this. Because why is he afraid of Candace Owens? Why won't he say her name? Now, you guys know I exposed this last week that he was talking crap about Candace Owens, and now he's doing it again, but he's trying to just put it in a generalization like, oh, yeah, it's the people against Israel, instead of just saying her name. Why won't you say her name? Let's get into the clip, y'all.
Well, the gaslighting that's going on around Israel, like, for instance, no other nation is connected at all to any conspiracy about Charlie's death. Why? Why is it only the Jews? This is called anti-Semitism. Now, not every criticism of the Jews is anti-Semitic. And I think Jewish people and others who advocate need to stop making everything about that, because y'all losing support when you bash and people call them anti-Semites for just little stuff that they do. But this is anti-Semitic. This is the bad mind worm that people got in their brain, that everything leads to Jews. When Charlie first got shot,
I want to clarify. Now, I can't speak for everyone, but most people who are critical of Israel are critical of the government. He's being obtuse on purpose. He knows the difference between criticizing Israel, the government, versus Jews. Like, for me personally, I criticize Israel over their foreign policy, but I'm not criticizing Jewish people for their faith or religion.
There was no connection whatsoever in my mind about that a foreign government, our biggest ally, whom Charlie has spent the majority of his life advocating for. There's 100 hours of sure Zionist content from Charlie Kirk that can never be deleted from the internet, that they will somehow find a way to get to America and coordinate an effort outside of our intelligence agencies to somehow kill Charlie Kirk. And then they didn't kill any of these other anti-Semites that's out there, but the Charlie Kirk that secretly was turning on Israel, secretly. Because not publicly, he wasn't really saying nothing different than what a lot of people believe, and that's questioning certain things that they find reprehensible. But she get on there and they go, this $150 million. Well, let's put that to bed real quick. Well, in my next clip, I'm going to put it to bed. Because Andrew Kovic, which was probably Charlie's number one guy, one of the closest people, executive producer. I know Andrew, and I know them. He used to be Charlie Kirk's like a manager. So they've been like this for a long time. And Andrew came out on Clark's podcast and debunked all of this stuff. Charlie Kirk didn't get paid or offered $150 million. If he did, I'm sure Andrew would have known about it. And I'm sure if Andrew knew, Erica knew. And if Erica knew, Andrew probably knew. He would have told somebody that he got offered $150.
Now, I will say, with the whole conspiracy regarding Charlie Kirk's death, do I find it suspicious? Yes, I do find it suspicious. And not because I'm a fan of Charlie Kirk. As soon as he passed away, Benjamin Netanyahu was doing like all this press regarding his passing. And it's like a foreign nation is commenting on just a U.S. citizen, just a regular civilian, commenting on their death. Now, was it tragic in the way that it happened? Yes, but a foreign entity is commenting, going from show to show, talking about just a normal civilian, not a politician, not someone in our government, just a random person, and granted, Benjamin Netanyahu can say, oh yeah, Charlie wrote me a letter, I invited him to Israel, but why are you going on shows? You could have just released a statement on Twitter, which, essentially you did, but it's weird.
$1 million. his closest people would have known. Nobody is saying that even exists. Somebody made that up because they got to connect the Jews to something. And then you cannot gaslight us into saying you add Jews to everything, but I'm not saying that they did it. Then why are you bringing them up? Why are you bringing up Jews if you don't think they had nothing to do with this? That to me tells me how anti-Semitic you are. Charlie's over here dead. You got a killer on the loose. And y'all.
The reason why I put that up is because everything that he's saying right now is connected to Candace's video, the one that I'm just showing you guys right now. It's all in there.
Over here talking about the Jews, but you saying I don't believe Jews had nothing to do with it. But why are you over here talking about that when we should be focused on this? Because you want it to be about the Jews. You want them to kill Charlie. So you can say, see, just like that ignorant woman, Anna Conspiracy. If I ever debated her, she would cry in the debate. I will just dog her in the debate. I will not give up. I will be relentless. She's such a fool. And they committed genocide. So to Israel, they're committing genocide. You stupid enough to say, I don't believe they killed Charlie because there's no evidence. But you believe there's a genocide with no evidence. All right, let Andrew.
The UN actually did recognize that it was a genocide. Like they did a whole study on it. Like there was a whole human rights council that confirmed, like, no, it is a genocide. What happened? So he's lying about that.
Who was Charlie's closest friend, closer than any of us. I would say most people, other than his wife. I would think that Andrew may be even closer than his wife because he knew her. He knew Charlie before he had a wife. Nick said it was his work wife. Too soon? All right, roll the clip.
A couple things that's worth clarifying. You know, and you asked me this earlier, so let me make sure I'd say it. Charlie's position on Israel was very clear. I like them more than I like Hamas. I just wish I was free to criticize Israel and not be labeled an anti-Semite, because I can criticize my own government and not be called anti-American.
Right.
But why do I have more freedom to do, that and not criticize, a foreign government? And he was really upset that there was this sort of clampdown on the freedom of expression, the freedom of ideas, free speech when it came to a foreign government. And I will say this, he felt like he had earned the right as a friend of the Jewish people over the years and all of the things that he had done. He felt like his bona fides in that respect were unassailable and that he should have the freedom to say, hey, it's time to end the war.
Because you can't say anything or they'll slap that label on you that you're anti-Semitic. It is what it is. Now, there was a clip with Megyn Kelly where he was kind of questioning that. I did see that, but I don't know. And this is kind of like what Candace and them are trying to push, is that he was having like this epiphany, like, oh, wait, maybe what I'm doing is wrong. Maybe I shouldn't be defending Israel. I personally don't think so. And the reason being is because Charlie, the turning point with Charlie Kirk, that's a nonprofit. So it's basically built upon donors. And so, yeah, he probably was conflicted because, again, his money is dependent on people donating. And so maybe there was a little struggle with that, but I didn't see Charlie Kirk as like a decent human being because I'm not a fan of him, right? I didn't see him as a decent human being. So I can't imagine him turning his opinion or changing his opinion unless it was for another grift.
Or, hey, it's time to stop.
Okay, let me just speak to this real quick because I want to put this in perspective because there's more that he's going to talk about. This is where youth come into play. And Charlie needed a true mentor. And I'm not saying nothing about the people that mentored him. I think he needed a mentor in this area because Charlie was doing the right thing.
Mentor.
Charlie was acting in good faith, but the pressure of people who are stupid begin to get to him. If you're criticizing Israel and people are going crazy on you, some of them are stupid, and wisdom tells you that some of them need a better perspective. Let me give you an example. The reason why you can criticize America and not be anti-America is because the other side hate America. So our criticisms of America is in love. It's not in hate. And it's clear. The reason why we call Ilhan Omar anti-American because they criticize America is because they're not criticizing America. They hate America and they want America to be destroyed. So technically,
of course, they're going to run with that narrative. The angry left, the left hates America. Okay.
If Charlie thought it through in this perspective, is that you will be called anti-American if you criticize America, if you're criticizing America in poor faith. But because we're not criticizing America in poor faith, we're not called haters of America. Now, when it comes to Israel, understanding the contextual reality, they don't make it right, but understanding why some people are offended is because there's a reality that occurred in the only Jewish state that existed that makes people feel afraid of completely losing it again, like they did in the Holocaust. Because a little bit of, are they interested in this? Oh, now they run the government. Oh, now they do this. Cause people to become extinct. And I think people are hyper vigilant. I don't think it's right.
So when people are making judgments against Black people, you don't see that. But when they're doing it to Jewish people, like, oh my God, this could happen again. Like, you know, you're talking to a marginalized group of people, like they're at risk of losing Israel, but you don't care nothing about your own people. You'll definitely spread propaganda against Black people, and you're okay with that. That's why I don't with him, because he's full of shit.
Necessarily, but I think they become hyper vigilant. So when I say something, which it hasn't happened to me, but it probably will at some point, some of them are stupid, and then some of them are acting out of fear because of what has happened historically to Jewish people. So I will identify the stew heads and say, I don't care what they say about me, they can go screw themselves. But then the ones who are considered my friends that are concerned, I will have a conversation with them to put it in perspective on what I'm saying, what I'm trying to deliver, and how do you want.
But he's been on here for the last week or so capping for it. Well, he's been doing it beforehand, but he's been the last week, especially now, capping for Israel. So no, he ain't criticizing nobody over in Israel. Nah, he's not doing that.
Do this together, right? If you're saying that my message is not right, how would you like for me to convey this message? And good, honest people who are Jewish, who are hypersensitive, I think will come to a conclusion of understanding where you come from. But when you're young, you're 31 years old, and you have been loved and liked, and people have literally kissed every ground that you walked on in the conservative space, your whole 31 years, or at least the years that you've been at Turning Point, it's not easy to hear people starting to turn on you. And somebody should, in my opinion, I would have liked for somebody to be there for Charlie. I wish he would have reached out to me so I can give him some confidence and perspective and say, bro, look, you good, bro.
But the way he's selling those I Am Charlie shirts, and also he has a whole collection of Charlie Kirk merchandise. Allegedly, 100% of the proceeds are going to Turning Point or whatnot. But the way that you're capping for him, you would think like y'all had some kind of close relationship. Let me tell you something. If, Lord forbid, I ever go, don't let nobody sell no merchandise with my name on it. Like, do not let them do that at all. It's very disrespectful. And also the PVD, they're doing it too, selling shirts and stuff like that. Candace, with all due respect, she hasn't sold any shirts or anything or merchandise for Charlie. She hasn't done that.
People will come and go. These people are, this is why these people are hypersensitive and these people are stupid. So let's differentiate between the stupid ones and the hypersensitive ones. And then at the end of the day, God got your back anyway. So if the hypersensitive ones want to not be around you, go tell them to F themselves. And it's the people, the kids that are in Turning Point USA that want to turn on you because they disagree with what you're saying about Israel, they can screw themselves. Now, it's okay to disagree, but when they say, I'm going to turn on you, I don't want nothing to do with Turning Point USA, because they don't like what you said, you can't do nothing, Charlie. Don't worry about them, man. They bandwagon people. Give the next controversy, they're going to be on your side again. When they go out to campus and they don't have nobody that love them, nobody that care about them, nobody that protect them, nobody that's letting them have a voice, then they're going to come back to Turning Point. Oh, can I do this? So just chill, bro. Don't let it get to you. But
well, you should have gave that advice to your friend while he was still here.
nobody was there, I don't think, that could convince Charlie of that, what I'm saying. I wish he had called me. Would that change his life? No, because God already had a plan for him. But I did wish he would have called me, and I could have gave him some real
He
perspective.
don't know you.
Killing. But, you know, when you, with Tucker, for example, yeah, I mean, we took some pushback. We lost some donors. And what's interesting is it wasn't necessarily Jewish donors, although there was, because that's a misconception about Turning Point's funding base, by the way, is, you know, it's not a whole lot of Jewish donors. It's just not. There was always, I saw the comments online like, oh, the Jewish shekels or something like, I mean, it's all this gross stuff. It just wasn't true. And it isn't true. But we did lose, you know, one in particular towards the end that was frustrating. There's this great clip when we were in Myrtle Beach, and he got asked if, you know, from somebody in the audience, if he was going to, you know, debate Candace or, you know, disavow Tucker. And Charlie's answer I thought was amazing. I remember he came off stage. He's like, "Do you like that one?" And I was like,
he would always ask that for reassurance.
Yeah. He always loved like, "Did you see that? Did you listen?
Yeah. Do I look good? Was that a good clip? Do you think that'll go viral?"
Yeah. And I remember saying like, "Yeah, I thought it was amazing. It was morally so crystal clear." And he basically said, "I don't appreciate being morally blackmailed." And, you know, and every time people would say that to him, he would dig his heels in. It's like, well, maybe Tucker's going to give 2 speeches now at MFest.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll invite so-and-so.
That was one thing, like Charlie and I relate to him so much, is that him and I both do that, where we don't like being told what to do.
Oh, I've noticed that before.
Yeah. So basically what he was saying was that, you know, when people would criticize him for having people like Tucker Carlson or Candace Owens, like, it would make him want to book them more. Like, oh, well, maybe we should have them, but since you don't like it so much, like, basically, you can't tell me what to do. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. So more or less, it is sounding more like, okay, regarding Israel, he stood up, he spoke up when it mattered, you know?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Andrew, I'm like, oh, there's so many things that we could talk about. How many times Andrew and Charlie have had to put out fires for me that I've started. But like, yeah, when I'm told I can't do something, it's like, well, I'm going to do it even harder then. That's just my personality. Mm-hmm. Charlie is very much the same way.
I think that's the key. It's like Charlie was a friend of the Jewish people and a friend of Israel. Did he have opinions about the prosecution of the war? He thought their PR was abysmal. Thought they were doing more harm than good in many ways for their own cause. So all of those things were true.
Doing harm.
And he was upset that he couldn't express those things freely without all of this pressure coming down on the organization. He has a lot of great Jewish friends and, you know, and some people that maybe some not so good ones, right? But I think it's just a nuanced thing.
Was Charlie offered $150 million from Israel?
As far as I know, no.
I had never heard anything like that. Everyone I've asked has said the same thing.
And by the way, just for what it's worth, it doesn't matter the amount that would have been coming down. We would have said no.
And there's evidence that is true.
Turning Point Charlie would not accept foreign money.
Exactly.
We only took American money.
Yeah.
There was money sent to us, like practically in multiple instances where they're trying to cram it down our.
Now, the funny thing is that, you know, necessarily it doesn't have to come from a foreign entity, but definitely it could come with people who are influenced by Israel.
Our bank account. And we said, no, we canceled like money wires and things.
No foreign money. And also no handouts from the During the pandemic, 100%. He refused to do mass layoffs that everybody else in the country was doing. Said no to the whatever that check was. What was that they were handing out? Stimulus check.
Yeah. The PPE loans, right? I always get PPP.
The PPP loans, I think he just said it.
PPE mixed up, but
yeah, but it was a good amount of money that at the time we could have used.
Yeah.
He put out a company statement saying, you know, this was tempting for sure, but we're going to say no.
Yeah.
I mean, he was very principled in that way.
He was extremely principled, especially on foreign money. I remember moments we'd be at like an event, you know, and some foreign people would come up and like demand a meeting or try and get a meeting with Charlie, and Charlie would look at me and go, deal with them, get rid of them. Like,
it's exactly where Charlie sounds. So I know that's exactly what he said. But people are saying, you know, you can't trust Andrew.
Negro, you don't even know him. They probably met a couple of times. You're like, oh, yeah, that's what Charlie would have said. Shut the fuck up.
He's now a part of the deep state or something stupid. You know, I think that you know, personally, I just think that I wish that Charlie could have had some more people around him that could have helped him through this situation, because I know how I feel to want to double down when people say crazy stuff about you. And is it always the right thing to do? I don't know. Maybe not. But I knew he could have gotten past. If I would have sat down and talked to Charlie, I knew he had gotten past this moment of feeling frustrated, because that pressure is crazy. When I interviewed Benjamin Netanyahu, I was the first time in my career that I felt like, man, I'm so sick of this stuff. I don't even want to be a part. People are so stupid. What am I even doing here? I'm gonna go off and be a businessman and make $1 billion, and y'all never hear from me again. That's how a part of me felt with the crazy amount of backlash I got just for interviewing Benjamin Netanyahu. The crazy amount of backlash that I get just for saying I support Israel. When every major Christian that I respect supports Israel. Every pastor that I respect supports Israel.
Here's the thing. It's when you're literally in bed with them and they can see that you're very biased. That's the actual issue. Like, there's nothing wrong with interviewing somebody, but when you're not pushing back or you're not asking the real questions, that's what people have a problem with. When you're literally eating his ass, of course, he's going to love you and come on your show. I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is going to go on any show that actually applies pressure on him. I think he's going to go to where he's welcome. And he went on your show. People know this. Duh. Y'all, I'm sick of him capping. I'm done. But anyway, I just wanted to let you know, like, you know, his little subtle hints, and he keeps taking shots at Candace, but he will not say her name. He will scapegoat around saying her name, and hopefully Candace see it and so she can clap back. But anyway, you guys, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and let me know if you want more videos like this. I appreciate y'all for being here, but we out. Deuces, everyone.